Hey, what's up guys? Come back to DK. In this video, I want to give my pick for this upcoming fight between Sean Brady and Della Maddalena. So let's get started. If we look at the records of these two fighters, starting with Sean Brady, he has 16 fights and he's won 15, lost just once. If we talk about his 15 wins, he has 3 wins via knockout, 4 via submission, and 8 via decision. So most of his wins have come via decision. If we talk about his one loss, he has been knocked out once in his last fight against Bilal Muhammad. Now let's take a look at Jack. So Jack has 16 fights and he's won 14, lost 2. If we talk about his 14 wins, 11 have come via knockout. So he is a knockout guy. 2 have come via submission and just 1 via decision. If we talk about his losses, he has been KO'd once and submitted once. Now let's take a look at the physical and career stats of these two guys. Starting with the height, it is 5 feet 10 for Sean Brady and 5'11 for Jack. So Jack will have a slight 1 inch height advantage. Weight is even at 170 pounds for both these guys. Reach is 72 inches for Sean and it is 73 inches for Jack. So Jack will have a slight 1 inch reach advantage as well. Stance is orthodox for Sean and it is switch for Jack. If we talk about the age, both these guys are pretty young. I believe Sean is around 32 years old and Jack is really younger by about 4 years. He has not hit his prime yet. Now let's take a look at the career statistics, starting with the striking numbers. First up, we have the strike landed per minute. So strikes landed per minute signifies the number of significant strikes that you land on your opponent per minute. That is 4.17 for Sean Brady and it is 8.27, so really double of that by Jack. So Jack will have a huge advantage here. He is landing a lot more strikes on his opponents compared to Sean. Striking accuracy is 53% for Sean and it is 49% for Jack. So here a slight advantage goes to Sean. He is more accurate with his strikes. Next up, we have the strikes absorbed per minute, and this is the opposite of strikes landed per minute. This signifies the number of significant strikes that you absorb from your opponent per minute. This is 3.86 for Sean and it is 4.29 for Jack. So in this case, you want this number to be as low as possible. So in this case, the advantage goes to Sean because he is getting hit lesser than Jack. Next up, we have the striking defense, which is 62% for Sean Brady and it is 68% for Jack. So here the advantage actually goes to Jack. Overall, in the striking, it is a bit of a toss-up. We have seen 4 indicators and 2 of them point out to Sean being the better striker and 2 of them point out to Jack. Now let's take a look at the wrestling, grappling and BJJ statistics, starting with the takedown average. So takedown average is 2.8 for Sean Brady and it is 0 for Jack. Jack has not attempted a single takedown in the UFC so far. So here the advantage goes to Sean. Takedown accuracy is 50% for Sean and it is 0 for Jack because Jack has not attempted a single takedown. So the advantage here I'll give it to Sean. Next up, we have takedown defense, which is 87% for Sean Brady and 71% for Jack. So again, the advantage here goes to Sean as well. Next up, we have the submission average, 0.8 for Sean Brady and 0.6 for Jack. So both these guys are pretty even, but a slight advantage goes to Sean again. So overall, I believe from the wrestling and grappling statistics, Sean has the advantage, but in the striking, it is a bit of a toss-up. The strikes landed per minute is way higher for Jack and the striking defense is higher for Jack as well, whereas the striking accuracy and the strikes absorbed are better for Sean Brady. However, keep in mind that Jack has way more knockouts on his record, so he has more power than Sean Brady. Sean Brady really doesn't have a lot of knockout power. Even if he lands on Jack, I don't think he'll be able to finish Jack, whereas if Jack lands on Sean, he might be able to finish Sean like Bilal Muhammad did in his last fight. Now let's take a look at the significant strikes by position and significant strikes by target, starting with the significant strikes by position. If we talk about Sean Brady, so 68% of all the strikes that he throws are in the standing position, 23% in the clinch and just 9% on the ground. Whereas if we talk about Jack, 79% of all his strikes are from the standing position, 11% in the clinch, and 10% on the ground. So in this case, the only difference is that Sean is going. So Sean is throwing a lot more strikes in the clinch compared to Jack. Now let's take a look at the significant strikes by target. So 76% of all the strikes that Sean throws are to the head, 20% to the body, and just 4% to the legs. So Sean is not a leg kicker at all. If we talk about Jack, 59% to the head, 16% of all his strikes are to the body, and 25% to the leg. So he is using a lot more leg kicks in his game compared to Sean. Sean is not using leg kicks at all in his game. Now let's take a look at the previous performances of these two guys, starting with Sean. So in his last fight, Sean lost to Bilal Muhammad via TKO in the second round, and this fight happened in October of last year. This was a good win for Bilal Muhammad, and before coming to this fight, Sean was undefeated at 15-0, and he was the favorite to win this fight. However, Bilal shocked the world and TKO'd him, in the second round. Before that, Sean beat Michael Chiesa by unanimous decision back in November of 2021. He beat Jake Matthews via arm triangle choke back in March of 2021. He beat Christian Aguilera via guillotine choke. He beat Ismail Naurdiev via unanimous decision and Court Maggie via unanimous decision. This was his first fight in the UFC back in October of 2019. So he's had 6 fights in the UFC till now. Now let's take a look at Jack. So Jack in his last fight beat Randy Brown via submission rear naked choke in the very first round. This fight happened in February of this year, so he is not taking a lot of time off. He is coming back after a break of about 4.5 months. Before that, he beat Danny Roberts via TKO. Also in the first round, he beat Ramzan Emeev via TKO. Also in the first round, he beat Pete Rodriguez TKO again first round, and before that was his Dana White Contender Series debut where he beat Angie Luza via unanimous decision. This was a 3-round fight, so he has had 5 fights in the UFC. So similar experience for both these guys. Sean has been in the UFC longer than Jack. However, the number of fights he's had are very close. He has had 6 fights and Jack has had 5 fights. So both these guys, I think, have total of 16 professional fights. So the experience between these two are very similar. If I have to pick a winner, I think I'm gonna go with the guy who has the momentum on his side, the guy who has the knockout power. I think I'll go with Jack. I think Jack has better hands. He is landing a lot more significant strikes on his opponents. And the thing with Sean Brady is he does not have knockout power. If he wins, it will be highly likely that it will be a unanimous decision win, or in very rare cases he might get a submission. However, I don't think he will be able to submit Jack, and winning a unanimous decision means going all the 3 rounds with Jack, and that's a lot of time for Jack to land his shot and knock you out. He has the power. He has 11 wins via knockout. I think he gets it done, and Sean Brady goes on a 2-fight losing streak. That's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video.